but we're not. It's not over yet. But it's just really to say welcome, because I don't know how many of you have been to our offices before. I'm Jayne Woodley, and this is the Oxfordshire Community Foundation. We have got some friends from Aspire, who are another charity just down the road. But it's a really, really exciting day for us today, because this is the third year in a row that Oxfordshire are running a Surviving Winter Appeal. And in 2010, when I joined the Community Foundation, and I'd only been here about 4 weeks, and I was approached by some really good neighbours, if you like, and they came to me saying that they wanted to recycle their winter fuel allowance, and they'd read about it in The Guardian that other community foundations in the country were doing this, and what were we going to do about it? And I just thought, well, we've got to do it, haven't we? And it was fantastic, and I think Jim is actually coming along a little later, but it was great, because it actually inspired people. I think people understood that fuel poverty is a problem. People are making choices between heating and eating, and that really shouldn't be happening in a sort of affluent county like Oxfordshire. But actually just helping people with their fuel isn't really what Surviving Winter is about. I think for us, Surviving Winter is a difficult time for many reasons. Oxfordshire is 50% rural. More than 50% of the population live in, they use the word settlements. I can't think of another word for it. Does anybody know? It's not a town, it's not a village, but places where there are less than 10,000 people. We have an intern here actually from Argentina. I don't know where she is. Chavelli. And she looked at the map of Oxfordshire and she couldn't believe the number of towns. And I mean, that's actually quite strange, because I think what she realised was there's loads and loads of places, but there are no big places. I mean, we're here in Oxford today, and this is by far the biggest city in the county, but that isn't actually where all the people live. And when you're living in a rural area, things like getting about to doctor's appointments, hospital visits, just visiting friends becomes really difficult. And that's the time when people stop being active during winter. They maybe stay at home. If they're at home, they need to have the heating on more because they're just not getting out. And all of these things sort of exacerbate problems. And if they do struggle out and trip, they then end up in hospital, and it's just a huge problem. So it's not really about fuel poverty. It's absolutely great that we are able to help individuals, but what we really want to do is to help some of the community groups, and I think we've got Volunteer Link up here today, we've got Daybreak, and we've got, where's Vista Good Neighbour Scheme, so, and we've got several more coming. And I think for this Surviving Winter, what we really wanted to say was the games makers were fantastic this year. People really got volunteering. They just saw that it was a two-way street actually. The volunteers had just as much fun as everyone that benefited from the volunteers. So we're hoping that businesses are going to get batty with us. And the idea of get batty is to say we know of more than 20 good neighbour schemes around the county, and what we're suggesting, and we've got Woodley King here today who've actually already signed up, they're going to try and encourage their 65 members of staff, who are all given 2 days a year to volunteer, to actually link up with a good neighbour scheme. The idea of good neighbour schemes, they're just brilliant. They just rely on volunteers to offer to take people somewhere, do a bit of gardening, maybe fill the fridge with a bit of shopping, just generally be a good neighbour, the thing that we seem to have forgotten about. So I think that's the sort of shift that we want to achieve. Obviously donations help and enables us to fund things, but I think what's more important is actually we create what I sort of call new social norms, where everyone does the caring thing. And it's really easy. There's a really great group that we've heard of that's called Casseroling, and all they're doing is, when you're cooking up at night, just cook a little bit extra and actually take it to somebody down your street that you don't know, because perhaps they may not have had a hot meal today. So it's just simple things that we're just saying, actually, this is an opportunity to all have a better winter. So we want to get batty. We've got some great people here to tell you why activity is perfect. We've got Tristan Hale from the Sports Partnership in Oxfordshire, who are totally supporting businesses trying to encourage their staff to volunteer and work out how you can actually bring activity into the workplace. We've got Skip from the Naked Health Detective telling us why we need to be active, so he can give you a few words.